You know, Asian carp is really a beautiful fish. One thing that I really enjoy is that it is a bit of a blank canvas. For a chef or for anyone cooking at home, you know, that's really a joy because it's gonna take well to your marinades and your rubs and other spices and seasons that you introduce to it. A lot of people haven't eaten it or cooked it, but it's a beautiful fish.
I think most people, when they think of carp, they think of bottom feeders. This fish is a top feeder, so it's very opposite of what people think of this fish. It's delicious, it's very clean tasting, it's healthy, it's delicate, fresh, low in mercury, high in omegas. There's nothing not to like about it. And there's just so many different opportunities to use this fish. Oh, hi. Your next course is green billed fish in banana leaf with non-fruit claw.
Looks delicious. What kind of fish is it?
It is Asian carp.
Oh.
An Asian carp eats half its weight every day, and they eat the same food as our native fish. The female Asian carp produces about 1 million eggs a year, reproducing faster than any of our natives. Asian carp are not in the Great Lakes, and we're doing everything we can to keep them out. But Asian carp are here in our Midwestern rivers, and in some places they are 70% of the fish in the water. This creates a huge river ecosystem problem.
I've been fishing probably 35 years full time. It's hard work. Now, these Asian carp, you know, we catch a couple million pounds a year. And we catch a lot more fish than we used to. You know, everybody's boats are almost twice as big as they used to be. Try to get 10, 12,000 pounds a day is what we aim at. And I tell you, without us, this river would be just solid. It would literally be solid. I'd say it'd be hard on everything because there wouldn't be enough food for everything. I know we're helping, you know, and the state put a 10-cent incentive on them, so they're trying to help too. Now these Asian carp, everybody says, well, come fish my lake, and you know, it's just completely changed.
When you eat Asian carp, number one, you're creating jobs. Number two, you're eating a healthy, nutritious, and actually good tasting food product. And number three, you're helping the environment.
Personally, it blows my mind because I just don't understand why we don't eat this fish in this country. Right now, we're the only country that does not eat Asian carp. Around the world, this fish is accepted protein source. I mean, it's a great fish. It's ate literally everywhere. I mean, it's the fish of 1,000 dishes.
So I wish people would appreciate Asian carp and take it as a new thing and not have a prejudice against it. If we made the same dish with tilapia and Asian carp, blind test, you'd pick Asian carp for sure because it's that much tastier, I think, than that.
Yeah, it's a much better texture, much better taste. I make meatballs and taco meat. Today I'm making bolognese. I'm making burgers. I mean, I can even tell you everything I made with it. Croquetas, which is another Cuban thing I've made with it, and it's delicious. I tell you, people will taste it and be like, this is not fish. You're lying to me. I'm like, no, I'm not lying to you.
That's absolutely insane. Right? It's amazing. This, too. Yeah. I mean, I'm just surprised of the flavor on it.
Most frequently we do burgers. On Saturdays we grill out front here and we do free samples, and burgers are the easy way to go for that. There we make like mini burgers and serve them on little buns and stuff like that. We do Dirk's Cuban ketchup or spicy mayo that we make here as we go down it. And it's well received. People like it when they try it. So
one slice of avocado and pico de gallo.
Dirk, it's delicious. Really good.
It's Taco Saturday. Taco? And to beat it is to eat it.
I love a Taco Saturday.
You're welcome.
Oh, wow.
So I was there at 8 and had one of my crustaceans.
1
talking about a healthy fish meeting worldwide protein needs, a market-driven industry. It's job creation for our river communities by restoring the traditional commercial fishing industry in the Midwest. Eating it now will protect our environment for generations to come.
Good morning, everybody. We're coming to you today from Chicago's First Lady Cruises. Isn't this view spectacular? And what a great ship to host a private outing. Did you know that they are dedicated to protecting Chicago's waterways? That's why this is a perfect venue to reveal a new name for Asian carp. Now, for more than 20 years, I've been a food reporter in Chicago. First at CLTV, and then ABC7. And in those jobs, I was lucky enough to travel to Asia several times. I've had catfish in Vietnam, river fish in Singapore, and Asian carp, or its relatives, in Thailand. Now, the fish definitely has an odd skeletal structure, but it's light, and most important of all, delicious. Throughout the program, we're going to be telling you where you can buy this tasty fish and eat it in restaurants, as well as give you pointers on how to prepare it. But first, we need to explain a bit more about it and why we think you're going to fall in love with eating this fish. For that, I'll turn it over to Kevin Irons, the Assistant Fisheries Chief for the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. Kevin?
Hello, I'm Kevin Irons, and I want to tell you a story about the invasive Asian carps. As you can see, these fish are most commonly known by the aerobatics of the silver carp. Asian carps are multiple species, bighead carp on the bottom of the picture, and silvers on the top eat plankton and algae, those things that make the water green. Grass carp in the middle eats aquatic vegetation or weeds, and these black carp eat snails and mussels. And while rare, their sizes, as all carps, can impress. Today's relaunch is needed to address the confusion between bottom-feeding common carp and these top-feeding and vegetative-feeding bighead, silver, and grass carp. Asian carp are the most cultured fish in the world for food and benefit fish farming by reducing nuisance plankton, algae, plants, and snails without chemicals, which is why they were first brought to the U.S. While these traits are helpful in our aquaculture settings, when they escape in our large rivers, these minnows, yes, large minnows, begin stealing resources our native and beloved fishes need, especially when they're small. All the little dots on the water here are the mouths of silver carp. This issue extends beyond just the borders of Illinois, however. The spread is evident in the Mississippi River Basin, covering much of the central and southern U.S. Agencies are leveraging efforts to prevent further spread into the Great Lakes, the upper Mississippi River, and other valuable waters using electric barriers and targeted removal efforts. Illinois wants to leave nothing to chance. It is clear that although we cannot likely eradicate these species, harvest can prevent the spread and is one of the strongest tools we have to reduce populations of Asian carp in areas where they are dominating. Harvest can significantly lower densities and populations of these carp. In the Illinois River, as much as 70% of the biomass or weight of fish are invasive Asian carps. What a grand success it would be to reduce that to just 10, 15, or 20%. And we have demonstrated with agency efforts that this is possible. To be clear, this is the largest, most impactful initiative DNR or other environmental organization has ever instituted in the Midwest to control carp. It is time, therefore, for our Midwest fishers to roll up their sleeves and for you and I to support them and their products. We are united in protecting our riverine environment and protecting the Great Lakes.
Thank you, Kevin. Did you know that one of the places you can reliably get Asian carp in Chicago is at Dirk's Fish and Gourmet Shop? It's located on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park and has been in the fish business for more than 40 years. Now, I've reported several stories at Dirk's over the years. No one has quite the same level of passion or knowledge about seafood as Dirk and his wife Terry. Let's see what they say about preparing and selling this fish to their loyal customers.
Hi, I'm Dirk Fusick, owner of Dirk's Fish and Gourmet Shop in Chicago.
Hi, I'm Terry Fusick, Dirk's wife and partner of Dirk's Fish.
I became interested in this fish after I read an article about Asian carp in the rivers and the potential harm it could cause if it got into the Great Lakes. I was able to source some, so we decided to try it. We've been sampling and selling it at the shop ever since.
I decided to make different dishes using ground Asian carp, meatballs, taco meat, and Cuban croquetas. Everyone loved it.
So we've been sampling and selling Asian carp burgers for 10 years now. Common carp has a dark flesh and a very strong flavor. Asian carp, on the other hand, has a sweet, flaky, mild white meat, very clean, wild-caught, and affordable.
I love trying different recipes with Asian carp. It's very versatile. As Dirk mentioned, it's very mild. It absorbs any seasoning you use. It is a great substitute for ground beef.
There are challenges we've had to face serving this fish. Most people make a face when we mention the word carp. We explain why it's such a good fish, is a lean, low-fat protein, locally caught and high in omega-3s. People are pleasantly surprised after tasting one of our recipes.
Dirk and I realized then that if people enjoyed it, then they'd talk about it and share the real facts about Asian carp. We served it at many events throughout the city. This fish is an extremely affordable protein and can feed many people. We believe the way to beat it is to eat it. I am Cuban American. Many of my recipes are either Cuban or influenced by my background. I spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my grandmother and my grandfather. They were both amazing in the kitchen. I started cooking for my family when I was 12 years old, and I haven't stopped. I grew up very poor. It saddens me to think how many people could benefit from this fish, but 11 years later, we're just still talking about it. My circumstances are very different now, but I will never forget what it was like to live in poverty. From fishermen to processors, this delicious and sustainable fish can create jobs as well as feed hungry people in affordable and healthy ways. We love so many of the recipes I've created: burgers, meatballs, taco meat. Our new favorite is my bolognese sauce. It's outstanding.
We built local nonprofit partnerships to promote the removal of invasive Asian carp from Illinois waterways for several years. I encourage everyone to at least taste this fish, buy it at Dirk's, take it home to try. If more people start eating Asian carp, we would be well on our way to solving the problem. We sell the fish at the shop, mostly as ready-made burgers. If you call ahead, we can sell you some raw ground carp for your own recipes. Plus, we have more recipes at dirksfish.com. Be a part of the solution.
Give Asian carp a try, and we will all thank you. If you can't beat them, eat them.
So let's see, Asian carp is healthy, versatile, good for the environment. The list goes on. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear from renowned chef and restaurateur Beverly Kim, owner of Parachute and Wherewithal. Beverly?
Hi, my name is Beverly Kim. I'm chef owner of 2 restaurants in Chicago, Parachute and Wherewithal. At Parachute, we serve an a la carte menu of Korean American inspired food, while at Wherewithal, we offer a prix-fixe 4-course menu plus a few complimentary bites. Phil Vitale once described Wherewithal as freewheeling and utterly unpredictable. For a chef, the best part of this fish is right here. It's a delicious strip sans bones. What I love about this fish is that it's very mild flavored. It's not fishy at all. It really is a blank canvas for spices and seasonings. It's as mild as tilapia, but I think it has a better texture than tilapia. But that's not the main reason I got involved in this project. Social consciousness has always been part of my DNA, and the thing that really sold me on using this fish is the environmental benefits. If they get into Lake Michigan, it would really be devastating. They can't get into Lake Michigan. Come try this delicious fish and help make a difference for our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Beverly. Now it's time for the big reveal. Doing the honors for us will be 2022 Chopped Champion Chef Brian Jupiter of Frontier and Ina May Tavern. And joining him is Nick Adam of Span Studios, the creative agency that led the research and development of the new name.
Right away, our research showed that this fish had all the desirable qualities that we love about fish we eat. It's local, it's wild caught, it's responsibly sourced. It is a clean top-feeding fish, and it's healthy and delicious. To ground the work, we asked consumers across the region what they thought. We conducted surveys, interviews, and focus groups with over 350 Illinoisans just to gather deeper insights into people's food, fish, and diet perspectives and preferences, to inspire concepts for rebranding this copious fish. While 85% of respondents had heard of this fish, only 5% had ever eaten it. It has all the characteristics people love about fish they eat, but few people know this. As Kevin Irons mentioned earlier, this is because the fish has a name-based perception issue. The great news is this isn't a unique problem. This has been solved many times before through renaming, and we know that renaming food works. Orange roughy, it's originally known as slime head due to its mucus glands, and it became orange roughy because it was impossible to sell or to serve something called slime head. If you've ever eaten or served Chilean sea bass, what was on your plate was actually Patagonia toothfish. Here too, the name emerged to help sell the fish. Through the act of renaming, many foods have moved from being disliked to fantastically loved. Our team came up with hundreds of possible names, many of which went on to be tested with consumers, marine biologists, fish experts, and food industry professionals. And one name surfaced across all the conversations, and it was a name inspired by the abundant qualities of this fish. That it is delicious, it is clean, and it is fresh. And now, to reveal the name of this delicious fish, let's pass the mic to award-winning chef Brian Jupiter. Take it away, chef.
Thank you, Nick. After more than a year of research and preparation and consideration of hundreds of names, drum roll please, the new name for Asian carp is Kopi. That's C-O-P-I. It's short for copious, which is exactly what this fish is. I love this name because it's fun and light, which is exactly how this fish tastes. It's also short and easy to say, and it combines well with names of dishes. Kopi burgers, Kopi sliders, Kopi fajitas, Kopi tacos, much better than Asian carp tacos, right? And even Kopi po' boys. Chefs and manufacturers will have no problem fitting it on menus or packaging. Speaking of packaging, take a look. It's designed to leave room for any manufacturer's logo. If you're a business and want to get involved, please contact sales@choosekopi.com. So to the people of my home state, Illinois, our neighbors around the Great Lakes, and this nation, please eat well, do good, choose Kopi. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, Brian. Great name. Right now on screen is a link to choosekopi.com. On that website is a list of more than a dozen locations where you can purchase or eat Kopi this week. We also encourage you to get involved with our #ChooseKopi campaign on social media. Upload a photo of yourself eating Kopi using the #ChooseKopi and challenge friends to do the same. And I know a lot of people were involved in getting us to this point, so I'm going to invite journalists to start submitting their questions in the chat, and I want to take a moment to again thank Chicago's First Lady Cruises for hosting us. I also want to thank the Illinois Department of Natural Resources and all of the partners involved, which you can see here on your screen. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's start the Q&A. And welcome to the wonderful brand new world of Kopi. I'm Steve Dolinsky. Great to be along with all of you again. And now I'm delighted to dig into some questions Some were that submitted previously, and some that are coming in right now. And if you have a question, you can submit it on the Q&A. We will try to get to them in the time we have allotted. And I want to now bring in our esteemed panel, of course, welcoming Kevin Irons, Chef Brian Jupiter, John Goss, and Nick Adam. Welcome to all of you. And I'm going to begin with Chef, because you got the honor of renaming this fish live, if you will, to Kopi. But I know you were excited about this project, even when you were approached to do this, because you'd already been familiar with it, you've been using it. Tell us a little bit about how you use it at your restaurants, and maybe what folks at home could do to use it as well.
Yeah, I was really excited to dive into the world of Kopi. And so some of the ways that we've done some dishes at IDNR has been, we do a Kopi crab cake. We've also done a Kopi po' boy, Kopi croquettes. They work well on tacos as well. And so it is different, but it's very clean and very fresh, very approachable as far as the flavor profile. And I think one of the best things is that it's extremely versatile, meaning that you can, create all these different types of dishes, but also use spices that you really like, because the flavor of the fish itself isn't going to overpower anything.
We saw in the video that Dirk was using it to make burgers, and I'm guessing that might be part of that, because the skeletal structure is a little challenging to clean these. You can get fillets, but it's easy to make it ground as well, yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And so, those applications of fish burgers, and that's a wide array. Meatballs. In the crab cake, we use it as a binder. So instead of putting breadcrumbs, you can get a completely gluten-free crab cake using the ground Kopi as your binder.
Okay, got a question here from Matt in Chicago. Where can we buy where can we buy Kopi at retail? Matt says he tried some at an IDNR event last year and loved it, but he can't find it anywhere that will actually sell it to him. And I'm guessing this is for Kevin Irons.
Thanks, Steve. And Matt, thanks for going to some of those events. You probably know this is a great fish. Kopi is awesome. And we've got Chicagoland covered. We're going from north to south. Try Dirk's Fish and Gourmet Shop. As you can see, they're a nice purveyor of this. And then on the south side, you can then travel to Calumet Fisheries and get some smoked Kopi. And the good news is we're thanking people today. We've signed national distributors, people like Fortune Fish, Gordon Food Service, Seafood Merchant, Supreme Lobster are using Kopi, as well as another list of people right here in the local area. And last for it, wherever you buy your fish, just ask for it. Talk to the people who are buying it and say, I choose Kopi, and go to the website, choosekopi.com, and there will be a list of where you can find it near you.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Chef, question for you. What do you think it's going to take for your colleagues in the industry to accept this fish? More than just it's a name change. They really have to start using it and ordering it.
Yeah, I think that it just needs to get into the hands of us chefs. We love, working with new ingredients and being able to offer new ingredients to our customers. So, let's get it in the hands of the chefs and let the creating begin. We're all a collectively, innovative group here in Chicago. So I'm excited to see, what some other chefs are going to be coming up with as we see Kopi start to pop up on more and more menus.
Okay, got a question here from Natalia in Springfield. You mentioned 4 species of carp that are known as Asian carp. So is this rebrand meant to cover all of them? Kevin, that's probably for you.
It is. There are about 4 species that we refer to collectively, and we can do that with Kopi. Kopi is a collective brand. Big head and silvers are the ones causing so much harm here on the Illinois River. But we have grass Kopi and we have black Kopi. And these are very unique fish in China where they use in aquaculture together. So it only makes sense that we don't confuse them with a bottom feeding fish, that these top feeders, the big heads and silvers, grass and black, have different profiles when it comes to taste. And thank you, chefs all around, for using this fish. It's amazing, but it is kind of a catch-all.
Kevin, this might be another one for you, actually. Got a question from a reporter. Where is the funding coming from? And big one. How much does it cost?
Sure. Well, thanks. Illinois IDNR has been put in a really good position working with our federal and state partners around the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes Restoration Initiative is a U.S. EPA program to protect our waters. So we were able to take advantage of this to protect the Great Lakes from Kopi and also Illinois waters. So generally it's about a $600,000 project, but that is from 2020 when it was birthed and thought about and planned through today, which some people may think is the finish line, but actually it's the starting point. We're going to support this effort through 2024, joining a collaborative of industries and fish eaters and restaurants and chefs, so it'll live beyond that. So as a biologist, it's pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, Kevin, with that, it's roughly, it funds about 5 years of work, and that includes the creation of the infrastructure to introduce the fish to a regional food hub. So that's a sales team, website, communications. And so compared to like a maybe private product or a private brand, this is really kind of fractions of the amount that someone would spend across that same period of time.
Thanks, Nick. I've got maybe a follow-up for you as well. Question is, what are restaurants getting out of this? Are they going to get paid?
Actually, none of the restaurants get paid. However, all of the restaurants receive free samples. The free samples of Kopi allows them to kind of test their dishes or test their menus, see what they want to create, and then also allows them to provide samples to would-be customers. It's kind of a pretty common practice inside grocery stores. You know, you kind of had those Saturday mornings where you could try a new product. It's very similar to that.
Okay, we got a question here for John Goss. Sorry, John, we weren't ignoring you. We want to bring you in here as an expert as well. This is about bycatch. You know, when commercial fishermen catch fish, they don't just catch what they're intending to. They often catch other things known as bycatch. Maybe you could explain bycatch, and then how is that going to be affected or impacted with this effort?
Bycatch is not really a problem. Over 90% of the fish in a commercial net are Kopi, typically in our waters. The other 10% would be the bycatch. And fortunately, the states have strong regulations. Those fish go right back into the water. They must be put back into the same water immediately. So really, we've had very minimal impact from bycatch on our native fish.
Okay. Another question here. This might be for you as well. This is from Colin in Canada. What specific actions will be taken to ensure that this rebranding exercise does not lead to some becoming more accepting of this group of unwanted destructive species?
Good question. Over the past decade, our federal government has spent several $100 million and working with our partners to create the intensive monitoring and the barrier systems to stop the spread of Asian carp, keeping them out of the Great Lakes. And certainly, I do not anticipate any backing off by the Fish and Wildlife Service, EPA, Corps of Engineers, or any of our natural resources groups to this really coordinated and strong effort. The problem is too many Kopi in our Midwest waters, crowding out our native fish for food. So we need to eat Kopi so our native fish can rebound.
Okay, branding questions here for Nick. I got two questions, really. They're both kind of similar. First is from Megan at the University of Minnesota. Invasive species names that are place-based, like Asian carp, can be hurtful for individuals whose ethnicity represents that region and or who are from that region. Was this a factor in driving the name change? And then from Monica Ng at Axios, she wants to know what went into choosing the name.
Yep, great. So it absolutely was a factor. It was extremely important to us that the name of the fish wasn't offensive to anyone, but actually kind of adopted qualities that are true to the fish. So we wanted to bring about a name that emphasized something about the fish. Really, ethnicity or words that are related to ethnicity or geography have no place in that conversation. And so we went with a name that kind of emphasize the copious nature of its health benefits, of its scale. It's rather a large fish, and it currently takes up 70% of the biodensity of Illinois waters. So we're really talking about a fish that's extremely plentiful or copious. The second part of the question was what went into the naming. We spoke with about 350 Illinois residents across the entire state. Got to understand people's perspectives towards food purchasing, food buying, what they like taking in, their perspectives around seafood and fish itself, their perspectives around what was formerly known as the other name, and got to understand, kind of this like gap between people misunderstanding this fish that the rest of the world really loves. It's one of the most eaten fish across the entire globe and most healthy fish. We probably came up with, a couple hundred names, maybe 20 of them were decent, maybe 5 of them were good. But across that time, we were constantly building out the story of the fish, making sure that it's something that, the DNR can own. It's not infringing on trademarks, making sure it doesn't have any type of cultural references that we don't want to emphasize, and making sure that it attaches well to the story of this fish that, really this fish has kind of gone unknown in the U.S. For the last 40 years.
Amazing how much legwork and planning goes into that process. Okay, another question here. This is from a retired marketing professor. Renaming of this invasive species is an initial critical step, but what is planned in terms of a follow-up plan? Widespread adoption will require a full blitz. Who wants to tackle that one? Maybe Nick or...
I'll jump in, Steve.
Kevin?
That certainly is the idea I tried to allude to. We're just getting to the starting line. Kopi is a great launching point. We've got all the tools provided by this team here that says this is going to be successful. Now we just need to choose Kopi. And it's going to be a teamwork moving forward. We're going to develop a Kopi collaborative. So it's not a DNR initiative. It's not a marketing initiative. It's going to be fishers and industry and restaurateurs and distributors working together. And why wouldn't they work together with this name to eat well, do good, both on the plate and in our society? And we're introducing a new protein source that can be available and used today, right here at home, and it's good food.
And that's a kind of a strategic move. This like industry collective is something we've seen before. The avocado farmers have it. Pork, the other white meat, has it as well. And we're maybe most familiar with it with the Milk Association that did the kind of Got Milk campaigns and conversation. Going back to an earlier question about the support in which restaurants and chefs work, going forward, people are still able to request the free samples. So chefs and restaurants can still, via the website or just your email, reach out to sales@choosekopi.com, and they will be supported and receive samples to test different dishes they want to try or offer samples to guests.
Okay, I want to just make sure there are no more questions coming in on the Q&A. It doesn't look like there are. I want to make sure we cover every question possible. I want to thank our panel. And there's one more coming in here. Excuse me, sorry. Oh, yes. How can people get this outside of Illinois?
Well, there is quite a few different distributors that we have. So over on the website, choosekopi.com, there's actually a page. It's called Fish Near Me. And depending upon where you are, there's distributors and processors that carry this fish in Tennessee, Kentucky, in New York. There's an organization that serves it out of Fulton Fish Market, for example. But Angie Wu is another great example. Kevin, do you remember, can you remind me where Angie's location
out of
is?
Wickliffe, Kentucky, and she has a partnership right here in Chicago now. So she's going to take advantage of Kopi. And people listening right now, sales at Choose Kopi unveil.com will get you to a person, a real live person, no computer, and they will help you figure out how to get your fish and what areas near you can help.
Yeah, there's even like a restaurant in Arizona that's carrying it right now. There's also quite a few of the distributors like Fortune Fish and Gordon actually distribute nationally. And so it's part of this work has been like creating the distribution system to be able to introduce this fish for anyone.
I know all the food writers in Chicago are going to be heading down to Ina May's to check out what Chef Jupiter is doing with the new Kopi printed on the menus, I'm sure. If people have questions, I know there are questions coming in, people should email Jayette Dolinsky. I'm going to spell this for everybody because she's going to be able to answer this. Jayette Dolinsky, B as in boy, OLINSKI, at illinois.gov. And she can answer those questions. So I want to thank our panel, thank all of you. Hope you've enjoyed this fantastic announcement. I was so excited to be a part of the big Kopi announcement. Been holding out of that information for a long time and glad that it's out there in the world now. And hope you've all learned a little bit about our fish that we are all going to be excited about catching and consuming out there. So remember, everybody, eat well, do good, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Steve.